And we're back. T's Weird Week News Live. It's me, T. Krulos.
And I'm Heidi Erickson.
All right. We've been busy lately, huh?
Oh man, yeah, we got our ass kicked. Spooky season came in like a lion. Came right for us. Mm.
So if you're listening, last week, season 3, episode 3, we featured our live T's Weird Week panel discussion. That was interesting, right?
I
Some
thought it was super
characters.
cool. We should do more of those because,
Yeah.
yeah, don't you think?
Yeah.
It was super interesting to find out like how many very involved magic practitioners there are in the city of Milwaukee. Though I think we should not be surprised. Milwaukee is a city that's totes like that. I wouldn't be surprised. There's witches. There's probably gargoyles. Maybe like vampires, werewolves. Like who even fucking knows? If you spent any time downtown on the Third Ward late at night, absolutely believe that the place is just lousy with various assorted, sundry fairy tale folks just running about.
Yeah.
Mm.
I just remembered, Heidi. I have 2 books that are yours that you left
Yay!
at the conference. You got
Yay!
a great book titled Goat Man, Flesh or Folklore by
Dude,
J. Nathan Couch, who is one of our panelists.
I
And
learned so much about Goatman. So much about Goatman. I didn't even know there was that much to learn about Goatman. It blew my mind, dude. I feel like I have a bachelor's degree in Goatman now. Did you guys know that Goatman is everywhere? I thought he was just on that one dumb bridge. Goatman is everywhere. Jay and I had that good conversation about Goatman and like pre-American, like European mythology about nymphs and pans and satyrs and Satan. Just wow. That conversation was like a supreme pizza. Just everything was on it. It was so gooey and delicious.
yeah,
Amazing.
it's a good book, as is the other book you got. The Bank Doesn't Care If Your House is Haunted by Hillary Higgins. I thought
Oh
that
my
you would
gosh.
hit it off with uh, Hillary because you both lived in Scotland,
Yeah.
and you're ghost storytellers, and
Dude, yeah, Hillary and I are friends forever. She came to the Witches Fair afterwards and had a couple drinks at Falklandia Brewing where we did the Witches Fair. And she was there with her husband, who's also a very nice man, and
yes.
her real estate agent, which I thought was interesting. Not everybody gets drinks with their real estate agent. But yeah, no, she's the dopest. And like her story is so interesting because it's not just about this haunted house in Madison that she lived in. It's about like people don't talk a lot about what it's like in the real world to be in a situation where you're like, wow, my house is super haunted. This sucks ass. What am I going to do? And like trying to solve that problem and what that looks like. So that was super fascinating. And it also talked about like a big part of the issue was that her mother was experiencing a terminal illness and like doing end of life care is like a real taboo subject in our society. And so it's really fascinating that all those things came together, and she just has such a really like great ironic sense of humor. And I read some of that book before I left it behind. Her writing style is so good, and the audio book of that just came out too. And
Oh yeah.
I might get the audiobook just to hear her read it because she's the fucking best ever. Wow. What a great con. Great con, T. Good job. Good
Oh,
job
thank
on the
you.
con. Really nice work.
It went really well. I think a lot of people seem to enjoy it. It's good to be able to meet people in person. So I
Yeah.
think everything went great.
Yeah.
The Witches Fair, super fun, really
Oh, that was so
enjoyable.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it. It was super neat. And like the Milwaukee Pagan community, we're already talking about doing more events. So that's going to be really fun. You guys should keep your eyes open for that because we're going to get real odd with it. It's just so many people want to be weird and like embrace their weirdness fully. And I feel like we're doing the Lord's work out here, trying to like be conduits for that. And I'm real proud of our station in society right now. My mom's so proud of me. She said I was going to be a dentist, but this is better.
And then you didn't really you kind of kept it rolling because
Yeah.
you had another key role in an
Yeah.
event the following weekend, the Windigo Fest. Why
Yeah.
don't I don't think everyone is familiar with a Windigo, so could you explain what this entity is?
Okay, so technically speaking, a Wendigo. Okay, so a Wendigo is not what, like, a Wendigo is a whole new creature in our popular culture than it was originally. Originally, a Wendigo is a Navajo myth that is essentially a morality tale about why you shouldn't do bad things. The big main bad thing being if you go out hunting with your buddies and you get stuck in a storm and you're hungry, you shouldn't eat them because the Wendigo was a guy who was a cannibal. He cannibalized his friends because they were starving, and he became this horrible creature. In um, Navajo lore, a Wendigo is more like a zombie or a vampire. It's this giant, rotted, fetting, corpsey thing. That's what a Wendigo really is. In our popular culture, the Wendigo has been kind of mashed together with this other character. I actually want to talk to Jay about this because I have a lot of feelings about it. Because I am of indigenous extraction. And so I have very mixed feelings about people using Wendigo, but I also accept that culture changes things. America's melting pot, all these things come together. A Wendigo now appears as this creature that's like half man, half giant stag, and the head is this big skull, and it's got big horns, and like you can see its ribs and shit, and it's got big long claws, and it stands on like big deer legs. I tend to think that the Wendigo, as we envision it, is kind of a representation of the wild god, of the horned god, of Serenus, of Celtic mythology and every other mythology everywhere in the northwestern part of the world, who was this god character who was very fearsome. If you were like lost, if you were doing stuff in the woods you shouldn't be doing, he could be somebody you definitely didn't want to mess with, but also could be very kind and generous if you were gentle to the wild. And I think it's kind of a manifestation of our modern like disassociation from the wild world. But that's what he looks like now. And the myth about the Wendigo now has become one with this myth of this Navajo myth about this cannibalistic creature that will absolutely jack your shit up in the woods and eat you. Aesthetically, I find it very pleasing because it's the kind of hippie gore that I'm into. You know, it really floats my boat. It's especially popular in parts of the Pacific Northwest and the Midwest, which makes sense. I like the idea of the Wendigo. I prefer the knot deer. Are you familiar with the knot deer as a cryptid creature?
No.
The knot deer is that deer that you see in the middle of the night when you're driving down the road in the country and you see a bunch of deer run across the road or standing out in a field and you think, ah, a deer. And then something happens and you look at the deer and the deer looks back at you and you realize that there's just something not quite right about this deer. I,
Oh,
have you ever had that experience? Have you ever seen a knot deer?
not
I've
yet.
had it. Oh man, like 2 or 3 times. I feel like I'm pretty sure I've seen a knot deer. One time for sure, and it was shortly after I moved to Wisconsin, and I was like, "This place is fucking jacked. What was that?" Because there's some uncanny valley thing that you can't put your finger on. And you're like, it's a knot deer. But a
Yeah.
Wendigo is not a knot deer. Wendigo Fest was named for this creature, which is really an American invention. This Wendigo creature, which is a squishing together of a bunch of different myths and legends from different places around the world.
Yeah.
And it is a great big horror festival that happens in Manitowoc, Wisconsin. This is the fifth year that it's happened.
Mm.
Um, and it's up by Two Rivers area. I don't know if you've ever been up there. It's on Lake Michigan.
Mhm.
Super pretty. It's really, really
Yeah.
pretty up there.
Yeah.
There's a place up there called Dead by Dawn. Dead by Dawn is a dead and breakfast. It's famous because it's a bed and breakfast that's also a haunted house. So you pay your money to stay at this bed and breakfast, to stay at this Airbnb essentially. And like there's all kinds of secret trap doors and like people hiding in closets and crazy special effects. And the whole point of it is that you're not going to sleep. Like their whole job is to make sure you don't sleep at all the night that you stay there. I've been into the dead and breakfast. You're not allowed to take pictures in there, but I have seen it, and it is gorgeous. Even if there wasn't a whole theatrical crew make you poop your pants, it would still be worth it to stay there because it's just a really cool space. Because Dawn, who owns the place, um, just is a collector, an avid collector of the strange and weird and beautiful. There's a bar upstairs called the Shrunken Head, absolutely
Nice.
spectacular, and she puts this fest on every year. The first couple of years she did it, she actually got a lot of pushback from the locals because there's like a parade with witches and like they have metal cover bands playing and people
Yeah.
dressed up like corpses. And, there was your predictable group of people who were like, Satan. And
Yeah.
Dawn was
Yeah.
like, it's
Yeah.
not. She's like, it's more like Tim Burton than Satan, but I see what you're saying. But she held fast and she found this really vast well of supporters who were super into this. So now every year there's this fest that happens over the weekend. There was a bunch of super cool vendors there selling all kinds of nonsense. Let's see, I got a mounted death's head moth. I got a T-shirt with Bela Lugosi on it. I got a whole coyote skull. Like you couldn't stop buying cool stuff. And there's the parade and there's the shows. There's the costume contest. I saw somebody dressed up as Reagan from The Exorcist. It was a bed right on wheels. And then the chick was in the bed, and the bed was just like zooming around the fairgrounds. Chick was just spitting at people. It was so dope. I couldn't get over how fucking cool it was. And of course, there's people there dressed as Wendigos. There was a guy, two guys on stilts dressed as giant Wendigos. My favorite costume though was this guy who was just there in jeans and like that tank top that they call a wife beater, which is so awful. And he just had a werewolf mask on and like reading glasses and was smoking Pall Malls. That was his whole costume. It was fucking awesome. There was a Guar cover band with like
Whoa.
the most awful like homemade Guar costumes. They were so good. The Metallica cover band was amazing. There was a Ghost cover band there. I wish I could remember their name. Holy shit, were they good? Wow, really, really amazing. And I was curating the Dark Arch show, the Heart of Darkness art gallery show with my partner Brian Defferding, and it was rad. I don't know if you saw pictures of like the centerpiece of the show that was actually done by a woman named Rachel Nelson, who is from Milwaukee. She did this beautiful mounted deer skull that was all covered in like precious stones and crystals and pearls. Like, whoa, it was so cool. There was another guy from Milwaukee. His name is Jason Blankensop, who is a guy who welds these massive like horror creatures. Jason's actually blind, and like this is what he does in his spare time is he welds these giant gargoyles and shit out of metal, and that was super cool. We had artists there from Israel and California. Like it was really, really neat. Like it was a super good art show and everybody really enjoyed it. It was just a good time had by all. And they had barbecue nachos, which are my favorite. Just like this pile of nachos. It's just like 3 pounds of meat. And then they put nacho cheese sauce on top of it. And under there somewhere is like some chips or whatever. I don't know. It's fucking great. I love Wendigo Fest.
It sounds like a treat that would satisfy a hungry Wendigo.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there was people running around all over there. Wendigo would have ate well that whole weekend. It was a pretty good turnout too, because they did part of it inside this year. Because the last year that they did it, the weather was awful. It was like 55 degrees and raining and blowing a gale, and like there were little kids out there like trying to hold down the vendors' tents and stuff, and like we really thought that the bands were going to get electrocuted because it was just like it was horrible. But this weekend was really nice. It was sunny, it was warm, everybody
Beautiful.
had a great time.
Yeah. It was like summer this last
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
It's like 80 degrees out.
I felt bad for the dudes in the Wendigo costumes though, because that's just mostly fur. That's like 25 pounds of fur, and then you're on stilts. Like, holy shit, dude. Like they were killing it. Dedicated. The dedication was impressive.
Yeah,
But
some of the local Krampus performers, they participated in the German Fest parade, which is in August.
Yeah.
And they were wearing their fur Krampus suits. And they were dying by the end of that parade. They were in the parade.
Yeah. I get it though. Like once you're a fur person, that's it, bitch. It's like box hair panties for life. Like there's no going. July means nothing. Like, there was always that dude in college who wore a black leather jacket even in the middle of July. It's because he was committed to. I wasn't. No, were you that guy?
Yeah.
OT. I'm so proud of you for holding the line. Honestly, that guy was always such an inspiration for me. Whenever my feet would hurt in high heels, I would just remember black leather jacket in July guy and be like, if he can do it, I can do it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I hated that we missed Beast of Bray Road Festival though. That's kind of a
Yeah.
bummer.
Yeah. It looks like they had success with that too.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
hopefully she'll do it again next year. Donna Wells Fink, who is also on our Tease Weird Week panel
Oh my
at the
God.
conference. So I hope she does it again,
Ugh.
and we'll be able to go next year.
I want to have brunch with Donna so bad. You
Yeah.
guys don't even know. We were talking to Donna. She was talking to us about Sasquatch. She was talking about the Beast of Bray Road. She was talking about she saw a gremlin one time out there. Like, I don't know what's going on out on Bray Road, but there's some wacky shit going down. And Donna has the 411. Man, what a treasure. What a treat. And she had those like the Beast of Bray Road t-shirts. I'm sure there's some left. You guys should go to the Beast of Bray Road Festival like Facebook page or whatever and see if there's any of those t-shirts left because they're so cool. So cool.
Oh yeah.
I want one. I super want one. I have a thing for werewolves though.
Yeah.
So you know how I feel about werewolves or whatever.
Oh, here we have our friends. They were at our panel discussion. Insane Asylum. They do a show, and he's saying, I'm assuming this is Joe. That was him in high school too. He liked to wear. And he says Beast of Bray Road is a very interesting subject. There is a lot more than meets the eye. That is true for sure.
Yeah. I feel like I want to go out there. Like people don't really go hunting for the Beast of Bray Road in wintertime super much because the Beast of Bray Road is an outside pet and it's cold outside in the wintertime. I almost want to brave it. I'm surprised more ice fishermen don't report seeing the Beast of Bray Road because if I was the Beast of Bray Road, there's no way I wouldn't be fucking with those guys. But like that's got to be the best time to go look for Sasquatch and stuff is in the wintertime, right?
Right,
Like
because you can see their footprints more easily in the snow.
Right. And there's nobody else out there. So that's a thing. I don't know. I think it would be cool. I hate being cold, but I would definitely like Zsa Zsa Gabor it up with some like white faux fur and go trekking through the woods looking for Beast of Bray Road. Whatever. I'm into it. I'll put a pork chop around my neck. I'm not scared.
That's how you do it. That's how you catch the beast. You gotta strap some pork chops on and go out there.
Right. Yeah, you gotta go the full way. You gotta be black leather jacket guy, but for cryptids.
Right.
Pork chops. Oh, that's such a cool picture. Someone should draw that for us. I'd love it if you guys would draw me and T out hunting for Beast of Bray Road with T like in the background with a microphone ready to interview him while I'm just walking out there with a pork chop tied around my neck. My dad will love it.
Well, I'm glad to hear that it went so well and that the art show was well received.
It was super good.
You know, I've wanted to go to Windigo Fest every year, but every year there's some bullshit I gotta do or something or other. So hopefully, next year I'll be there in person to check it out.
You weren't doing bullshit this time though. You were doing kind of important stuff that was important, right? Like California or something.
Well, see, what happened was I was originally going to go to California last week. And then at the last minute, we bumped the dates around. So I'm actually flying out on Thursday.
Oh.
And I'll be gone for about 6 days.
Oh.
But, I also was a little concerned about finances. So I picked up doing some ghost tours over the weekend.
Oh, well, that's cool.
So, yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah, because I'm not going to be able to do them while I'm gone in California. So
yeah.
But yeah, this is a very interesting year for me because I did not expect my life to go in this direction. But I guess in 2021, I'm becoming a documentary type of dude.
And a local treasure.
Hey, he's talking about there's a magazine. It's called MKE Lifestyle. It's not Milwaukee Magazine. It's MKE Lifestyle Magazine. I'm not sure where you can even get this magazine. But anyway, they contacted me and they did an interview with me and Linda Godfrey, who, by the way, is the one who broke the Beast of Bray Road story.
Oh,
She was
yeah.
she was the first one to report on it, and
Yeah.
she
Hashtag girl boss. Awesome.
yeah, she's great. I've known her a few years now, and she's written several books about cryptids in general. So
Dude.
she's written about the Beast of Bray Road, but she's also written about Sasquatch cases and all sorts
Yeah.
of cryptid stuff. So they interviewed me and her and Anna Lardinos, who does a tour company here in Milwaukee called Gothic Milwaukee, which is not the same as the company I work for, American Ghost Walks. But I know her. She's really cool. We're not rivals or anything. Uh, we're like we work for
Because
different
the
companies, but
way that you said that made it sound
yeah.
like you kind of were rivals. It
No,
made
no,
it
no,
sound
no,
like maybe one time you filled her car with shaving cream.
no.
Maybe
She's
one
great.
time she put red dye in your shower head. Okay. I
No,
do like
no, she's very fun. She's very cool to hang out with. So anyway, they wrote about the three of us, and they described me as being local treasure T. Krulos.
I'm making you a t-shirt. I'm making you a t-shirt that says local treasure, and you're gonna wear it and it's gonna be awesome. I might replace all your t-shirts with just the t-shirt that says local treasure so everybody knows. Okay, cool. Well, yeah,
Well,
that was what we all did for the beginning of spooky season.
yeah.
That was what was going on. What else is going around these parts,
Uh,
Montclair?
well, so as I was kind of leading into, I'm working on this documentary that is an
Mm,
adaptation of my book American Madness. That's why I'm going out to California.
right.
I'm gonna help lead some interviews with people who are related to that story. So we're gonna do a couple days in San Francisco, and then I'm gonna head down to beautiful Los Angeles, California, and do some interviews there. And then later in the month, this is really cool too. Um, I wrote a piece for the October issue of Milwaukee Magazine, and it's about horror hosts.
Right.
Some of them were at Windigo Fest,
Yes, I
right?
met Dedger. I met
Edgar Winter.
Dedger.
Yeah.
I met Dedger's wife, and I
Mm-hmm.
met Dedger's mother-in-law,
All
who
right.
is his
And
mother-in-law in
on the
real
show.
life and
And
on the show.
yeah.
I had a Newport with her. She talked to me about how great it is to be able to give him a hard time in real life and on television, which is just such classic her. Love it. Yeah,
so
yeah.
so I met I met Dudger first. This was in 2016. We did a show called Friday the 13th Fest, and it was sort of a benefit show for the Milwaukee Paranormal Conference.
Oh, sure.
And we did it at River West Public House, and it was kind of horror, punk, metal, and burlesque.
Sounds sexy.
Yeah, and we've done it. We didn't do it the last couple of years, but traditionally we did it every Friday the 13th.
Oh, sure.
And so I'm pretty confident that event will return next year, maybe, because
Sweet.
it's super fun. It's just a fun time, right?
Yeah.
Like we have a lot of local talent, and it's a spooky good time. So Dedgar shows up to the show in his costume. I was like, wow, this guy's got style, huh? And
Yeah.
we ended up talking, and I was like, oh, this dude's a horror host. And I knew the famous ones like Vampira, who was the first horror host, Elvira, of course, everyone knows who that is. Sven Gulli is a famous horror host from Chicago that has a
Mhm.
show on MeTV. And I was like, oh, how cool. This guy's a horror host, and he has a
Yeah.
show. So I met him, and then I was at a different event that same year, and I see this kind of creepy looking dude in a hallway, and he's got like a camera crew, and they're filming something. And I was like, huh, this guy also looks like a horror host. And sure enough, it's a dude named Dr. Destruction, who has a show called Crimson Theater.
Uh,
And then I found out that not only is he a horror host, but both Dr. Destruction and Dedgar Winter are both from the Kenosha area. They're both in like kind of metal bands, and they do these very similar shows. So I
Sure.
was like, these guys are quite similar. And I always thought it would be a good story, and it was in the back of my head. But then I noticed that two of Dedgar's co-hosts, Morgan and Celeste Parker, who say that they are witch sisters,
Yeah.
they started their own show. They broke off from Dedgar's show and they started their own. So it's
Nice.
like three shows in the Kenosha area now, right? And I was like, okay, there's a story here. I'm going to pitch this to Milwaukee Magazine. They said, sure, T, whatever, I guess. So I started working on the story, and then I discovered that one of Dr. Destruction's former co-hosts, who calls himself Uncle Wolfman,
Oh, that's
also
awesome.
has also has his own show, Nightmare Cinema. So there's
Oh,
four horror host shows in the Kenosha area.
that's fucking awesome.
And
Have you?
while I was working on the article, I was like, this is a really fun story. I love interviewing these people. And I was like, and it's so visual. Wouldn't this be a great short documentary? Like it'd
Yeah.
be super fun to make. And you suggested your friend Alicia, and we met today, and it was super fun. She's great, you know. She has this really great creative energy.
She does. Did I tell you she actually presented films at the art show too? Like her
Oh, she
short
did.
films were
Oh,
playing at
cool,
the art show. Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. No, and when I told her about this project, like she was like, this is my dream. Like, did you get my Christmas list? Like, this is fucking
Yeah,
awesome. So she's really excited to do it. It's going to be pretty neat. It's
that's
going to be pretty
cool.
neat.
Yeah, we have a couple of other people who are going to help with some of the filming, some local filmographers. And it's going to be super fun. We're going to do a shoot at Dr. Destruction has his own haunted house on a pumpkin farm in Kenosha.
Wow. Hashtag goals.
So
You know,
we're gonna
it
go
doesn't,
there and film, some footage on the pumpkin farm, and we're gonna try to interview Celeste and Morgan Parker in a cemetery, and
oh, sure.
it's gonna be super fun.
Yeah. You have to stick with the aesthetic. You have to be
Yeah.
black leather jacket guy. You have to write it all the way out. I don't know how many of you people have ever been to Kenosha ever. If you're listening to this from outside of the southeastern Wisconsin area, Kenosha is absolutely the kind of place that you could believe that there was a horror host feud secretly going on under the surface, because parts of Kenosha are still the same exact way that they were in like the early 1960s. There are still signs on the side of like gas stations and stuff that haven't changed in 60 years. Hex Arcade, yep, that's the one I'm
Yeah,
talking about.
that's the name of Celeste and Morgan Parker's show, Hex and Arcane.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
P.S. How did these people get to just be Uncle Werewolf and Dr. Can we just pick our own nicknames whenever we want to?
Yeah.
Why haven't T, you didn't tell me that. I would have totally picked a nickname. I would have done it. I would have been like Mrs. Mayhem or something. A
Nice.
Captain Badass. I don't know. That makes me really sad. Got guys out here just being Dedgar Winter.
Yeah.
I
So,
feel cheated.
by the way, another thing about Kenosha and the horror hosts, unless someone can tell me otherwise, and I don't think they can, Kenosha has the largest population of horror hosts in the world.
Oh, they gotta.
Yeah.
They gotta. Show us another town that has more horror hosts than Kenosha. And you
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah.
You can't show us that. No. If there is another town like that, it's probably some town like in Siberia where like that's their one export out of that town is just horror hosts that climb up onto radio towers and like wire them in by hand and sit in the top of the radio. Like that's the only way.
Welcome
That's the only
to
way.
my very creepy show.
That's cute. One of my favorite ghosts, like so like we've talked frequently about my obsession with those like ghost video shows that exist on the internet, like Nuke's Top 5 and Frostmare TV and all this kind of stuff. There's actually this surplus of those guys who are like Slovak in some way. They're Slovak or they're Russian. You can tell by their chopped up English and their really thick accents. So that might actually be a real life thing. Like Kenosha might have some competition somewhere in like Ukraine or whatever. In which case we got to get those guys together for a battle royale because that's going to be the event of the season.
Here's someone else's guess. Las Vegas might have more horror hosts.
You think so? I don't know.
I don't know. I'll look into it. I could see that being a possibility.
Sure.
But I'm gonna look into it. I'm pretty confident though that Kenosha has the highest horror host body count.
Certainly by population density.
Yes,
like even if there was 5 or 6 in Las Vegas, there's not like there's like one horror host per 15 people in Kenosha. Like, you can't beat that. You can't hardly beat it. So
yeah.
So that's totally dope.
It's totally dope, and I'm very much looking forward to. It's a really fun project. Some projects, they're stressful and they're kind of a slog, and you gotta like run a marathon. But this one, I think, is just gonna be really fun.
Super awesome. Yeah, totally. I mean, yeah, I think it's good. I think that one has viral potential for sure, depending on how you edit it. Because those people have got to be just characters. They're used to performing, I'm really looking forward to like Don't Tell Anybody because I'm such a ghoul. But like part of me wants to believe that there's like some really dark, deep, dirty dirt that went on in that scenario. I want like Tiger King level shit where there's like the intimation that like perhaps there was a murder, like somebody fed somebody's dog to their bank robbery gone bad. I want to hear about like sex, drugs, and rock and roll. I gotta believe it. Because what the fuck else is there to do in Kenosha except live to all kinds of nonsense with your arch nemesis? Once you have an arch nemesis, if you aren't taking full advantage of that, you don't deserve an arch nemesis, okay? That's a privilege. It's a privilege to have an arch nemesis, especially when that shows up in costume. Are you serious? That's grade A shit. I'm just saying there better be some Tiger King shit going on in Kenosha. That's all I have to say about it.
All right. Well, we'll find out very shortly here. Me and Alicia are on the case.
Yeah, you best do it.
Okay. So I found, once again, there was no shortage of weird news. I have tabs open for 4 stories, and I think that they're all 4 like equally kind of fucked up.
Okay, I want to talk about the Mole Man though. That's my favorite one.
All right, let's start with that one. That's a good one to start with. Yes. Here's a headline that grabbed my eye. Meet New York City's mole man who hangs out in a hole beneath the sidewalk.
Same. Tell me about this man. Who is he? What's happening?
Well, he's a former America's Got Talent contestant.
Oh.
And there's a massive sinkhole near his home in Bed-Stuy is a neighborhood there. And he likes to hang out in this sinkhole near his house, dressed with this really creepy rubber mask that makes
it's a really good mask.
Like a mole.
Wait, does he? Okay, questions. I have them. First of all, what was his act on America's Got Talent? I want to believe he like sang a Michael Bublé song or something like that. But like, did he do some mole man shit? Was there any indication of his mole man inclinations on his debut?
There's I don't know if this is what he did on America's Got Talent, but there's a really great photo of this guy. His name is Danny Wolverton. He's 36 years old, and he does this very impressive looking levitation act where he has a walking stick, but he appears to be just sitting in the air, holding onto the stick. So he's well known for that. So I guess that's maybe what he did on America's Got Talent.
Okay.
Um,
That's a little bit more in line with his mole man antics. I can see that. Also, the article says that he just likes to hang out in the. Does he fight crime? Does he what is he doing in the hole? Does he just
what
likes it there? I don't know.
I will tell you what he's doing. He is accumulating millions of views on TikTok doing this.
Ah, sure.
So
Okay.
I
I
think that's
mean,
his
sure.
main motivation is that he wants to be internet famous
You
for
know what?
being a
I
mole
respect
person.
that. I respect that. To be fair, you have to give it to David Wolfie Face or whatever his name is, because
Uh-huh.
in real life, if that's his goal, he is accomplishing it. And he was willing to be a guy in a hole to get that done. Not everybody's willing to do that. And he was. So he wins. Nothing but respect for Mole Man. Good job.
I love
Good job, Mole Man.
I absolutely love the last sentence of this article. It says a Department of Transportation spokesperson said the agency strongly discourages anyone from crawling into the hole, mole man or not.
Even if you are a mole man, it's a bad idea. But if you're not a mole man, just fucking forget about it. Just don't do it. It's a bad idea. Dude, how big is that pothole? I'm
It-
surprised there's not 15 mole men running around Milwaukee. Have you seen the potholes around?
yeah,
They should check those holes.
yeah.
They should. There's probably a badger man in there. There could be a squirrel guy. Squirrel girl was from Milwaukee. I bet that's what she was up to too. She's just kicking it in those giant ass potholes. Dang, crazy. The rodents are everywhere. Okay, cool. That was a good one, T. I don't know if you can top that one. Moment.
I got a banner here that says mole man alert. Yeah. Uh, okay. Let's talk about this one next. This is
Whew.
a different type of animal encounter. Shakira, the singer.
Shakira, Shakira.
Yeah,
Mm, mm,
yeah, sing it.
mm. I'm not going to. It's terrible. That's a terrible idea. That's a worse idea than crawling into a sinkhole in New York, even if you're a
Shakira
moment.
was in Barcelona,
Yeah.
Spain, and she was attacked by two wild boars.
Right. They stole her purse.
Right. Yeah, they stole her purse. Jeez. Jeez.
When I first heard that, when I first read it, I was like, that was not wild boars. I was like, Shakira, honey, like, did you have your glasses on? Because pigs don't steal your purse. But it turns out they did steal her purse. And there
Uh-huh.
was nothing in there worth stealing. It was just like her phone. And this is what I love about wild boars. Is that they're just mayhem. They destroy things just to destroy them. They're the angriest, meanest creatures in the entire world. Keep in mind, I spent a great deal of my childhood living up on essentially a swamp, on a saltwater swamp. In that swamp, there were snakes, spiders. They had turtles that bite your toe off, all kinds of crazy shit in the swamp. But the scariest thing in the swamp was wild pigs. Was these wild pigs, because they can eat anything that will take a chunk out of you if they're hungry enough. But more than that, they will fuck you up just to be a dick. And
Hmm.
they're taking over huge parts of not just South America, but like Texas and
Mhm.
Georgia. Like there's all these places where it's warm because they can survive anything. They're like giant porky cockroaches. Like you can't shoot them. Did you know that? Those big ass boars? Like
Yeah,
you have to use special guns to shoot them because their hides are so thick.
yeah. Javelinas, they call them in some regions, right?
Look at you.
Yeah, javelinas. Here's something interesting from this article. It says that in 2016, Spanish police received 1,187 phone calls about wild hogs attacking dogs, plundering cat feeders, holding up traffic, and running into cars in the city.
And racketeering, tax evasion. Disrespecting a police officer. Yeah, it's crazy. And like, okay, so remember that whole thing with the gun control situation where they were like they made fun of him because he said he needed automatic weapons in case wild pigs attacked his farm. Except
Yeah.
now that's a thing that's happening. That's a whole thing, but I don't want to hear about it unless he's got a javelina. And that's not all they have in South America either. Isn't South America that place where the capybaras are becoming such a huge problem too.
Are they?
Yeah,
They're
capybaras.
they're kind of cute, aren't they?
I mean, I guess they're real docile animals, but they're
Mhm.
also giant
They're big, yeah.
rodents.
Yeah,
They're
yeah, I
like
could see
they're
that.
huge and they
Yeah.
eat everything. And there was a town 2 weeks ago, this was in the news, that there was a town that was like a rich neighborhood where like all the wealthy people lived. That was just getting overrun with capybaras. They were everywhere and they were destroying everything.
Damn,
So
they gotta
that's
get some mouse traps that are like 5 feet long and
right.
set those out.
Giant cats. Have you guys tried giant cats? Oh my God, that would be such a fucking Donald Trump solution. They're just like, well, let's get big giant cats and drop them in there. What's the worst that could happen?
Well, that was an
Fucking
actual plan they
Christ.
had in Chicago. They had too many rats, so their plan was to release a bunch of feral cats to hunt the rats.
I mean, I really enjoy their cartoon logic. I feel
I
like
know, right? I was like,
too
what's
many
next?
rats,
Now you got to
just
get a pack of
rats.
wild dogs to chase
Too
the
many
cats out of
dogs.
town.
Too many dogs, just get some horses. Too many horses, just get some hippopotami. This is great. There's no way this is going to escalate wildly out of control. Totally fine, totally fine. Yeah, I remember too because they were talking about Pablo Escobar. That was the dude. Remember Pablo
Oh,
Escobar?
yeah, yeah,
Remember
yeah,
that guy? That
yeah.
character, that card? He
Mhm.
he had a lot of money because he sold a lot of drugs. And
Yeah,
one of the things he liked to do with his money was collect weird exotic animals.
yeah,
Except he
yeah,
got busted for selling a lot of drugs, and
yeah.
nobody wanted to take care of his animals. They just released them into the wild, including a bunch of hippopotami. And I
Right.
guess I didn't know this until recently that a hippopotamus is one of the most dangerous animals on earth.
Yeah,
In Africa, where they're from, hippopotamus kill like 10 times more people than lions and cobras and all them shits put together
yeah,
because they are, again, one of those, and they don't even eat people. That's not even a thing they do. They just don't like us.
yeah. They're
So
just aggressive. Yeah,
they're super aggressive and like they release them in South America. And South America is just this place where it's like nice all the time and there's always food and it's always warm. And so the hippopotami were like, dope, like this place is fucking Miami Beach, let's do it. So now there's this huge hippopotamus problem in South America too. They got all kinds. South America is the new Australia. I said it. I said it. You can
isn't
book me
there
on it.
is I heard maybe this is just like internet rumor or whatever, but wasn't there an issue with the hippopotamuses like being high on cocaine or something? Because he also had a shit ton of cash and cocaine stashed everywhere,
um,
everywhere.
I don't know, but I hope that's true.
I do too.
I really do, because if you're gonna get killed by a hippopotamus, like, if that's what's gonna happen to you,
One
wouldn't
that's
you rather, like, have a hippopotamus that's like, "Listen, I gotta tell you about this business plan I got, rawr," and then just, like, eat your face off? Fucking crazy.
yeah,
"Let's start a band, rah," and then they kill you.
yeah.
Uh,
Maybe I just made that up in my mind. I don't know.
the only cocaine-riddled animal I remember really well was that bear in Alaska, and, like, that plane crashed, and the bear got into the contents of the plane, and the plane was like $2 million worth of cocaine, and
Oh
so the
shit.
bear ate all the cocaine and died of
Yeah.
a drug overdose. They found this bear that had cocained himself to death, and there was that joke going around that for like 45 seconds he was the most dangerous apex predator on any continent, and then he died because he ate all that cocaine, and cocaine is bad for you.
Damn.
Don't do drugs, kids.
Yeah.
Not even if you're a mole man.
So that's a good lead in to story number 3 that I got here.
Okay,
This one just, man, what a headline this is. What
I'm
an
ready.
incredible
My
headline.
body is ready. Hit me with it.
Here's the headline. Woman boiling bear urine to drink allegedly started massive forest fire.
Oh
This
my
is
God.
in
Okay.
California, where
Right,
they're
right.
having quite a serious problem with forest fires as usual.
Yeah, use a hot plate, bitch. What's your problem? They got warnings posted everywhere. Oh, there's so much wrong with that. So, okay, you said she was a shaman.
Yes,
Is that correct?
she lists her current occupation as shaman on LinkedIn.
In case you're wondering, yes, she is. That's a Susan if ever you saw one. She does not look like anybody's shaman. I'm guessing her parents were both used car salesmen somewhere in New Jersey. So it's this blonde lady who thinks she's a shaman. How, pray tell, did she get bear piss? Like, where did that even come from?
They're not explaining that in this article.
Uh-huh. Well, first of all, as I've mentioned, urine is completely sterile when it comes out of an animal. That is a
Yeah.
real thing. If she was any kind of real shaman, she'd have drunk it right from the bear like a fucking grown up. Like, you don't need to boil any kind of pee before you drink it unless it's part of your Kmart shamanic practices or whatever. So she started a forest fire. Didn't they charge her with something like an actual crime? They charged her with a crime.
Yeah, arson. I mean, it says if convicted, she faces up to 9 years in prison because this fire it destroyed 41 homes and over a
Ew.
hundred other structures.
Ew.
And they still haven't completely contained it. This says the blaze is 65% contained, which
Yikes.
is not 100%. So
No, it's not. There's more percentages just hanging out there. I see. I mean, I guess that makes sense. I would probably, God, um, that woman I think probably needs some assistance because she's out in the woods making fires and drinking bear piss. So
yeah.
if I was her, I would claim not competent to stand trial for that foolishness. She won't though. She'll be like, "Yeah, I'm a shaman. Fire is natural. I drink bear pee and I eat elk poops and I'm living my best life. You guys are just jealous."
This is interesting. She has a degree. She double majored in biology and chemistry. She went to study as a PhD student, and she's also a certified yoga teacher. But it seems like she is having an issue.
It seems like she's hit a rough spot.
Yeah,
Really. First of all, you have 2 degrees and they were in biology and chemistry, and you're teaching yoga for a living. Like, come on, dude. Like, clearly, there was some left turn that did not go right for her already. And in addition to that, she's in the woods drinking bear pee, calling herself a shaman. That's not real. I'm sorry, Susan. I hope you get the help that you need, and I hope that I hope that you can put your degree to good. I wonder if she was using that chemistry degree to get up to some nonsense. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised because this
Oh,
happened.
yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
Yeah, like Breaking Bad style,
yeah,
making some homemade meth or something.
yeah. And like, I mean, that's definitely the kind of stuff that could convince you that you're a shaman and that you had to drink bear piss and that your teeth were full of bees because meth is bad. Don't do drugs, kids. Don't die. Hope I'm
Oh,
not offending
man.
anyone who's currently on meth. You guys shouldn't do that. It's bad. Okay, well, that was weird. Wow,
Yeah,
those stories just all got better
yeah.
and better. There was not one dud in the bunch. Good job. Jeez.
No, and there's one more. This is also
No.
an individual who I think needs some help of some sort,
Okay.
but it's a wild story. Here's
Okay.
a headline from NPR. A ninja with a sword assailed a U.S. Army Special Operations unit in California. Again, hey, this is our second story from California. Maybe we need to
Yeah.
update our Wisconsin,
Oh,
Scotland, or Florida banner to
that
include
list gets
California.
keeps getting longer. Keeps getting longer. Okay. Is this guy an actual ninja or just somebody in black pajamas? That's what I want to know.
It says a man wearing full ninja garb. So that to me means like you know, a
Like a
ninja
ninja.
costume. You can buy them online.
Okay. I mean, like, I hope it was, and that he didn't just go get a Sub-Zero costume from the like costume department in Target or whatever. So a ninja, he attacked with a sword. Did he hurt anybody? Did
Yeah,
he?
yeah.
Oh, did he?
Yes, he cut one person with his ninja sword.
Right.
Um,
Or just a sword, because he's probably not a real ninja. but his sword that he had while he
So,
was dressed like a ninja. He, but he cut them.
yeah,
You're saying,
okay. So here's the first this staff sergeant, he's outside smoking a late night cigarette
sure,
when,
sure.
wouldn't you know it, a guy dressed as a ninja approaches him and
Uh-huh.
says, "Do you know who I am?" The sergeant said he didn't. And then the man said, "Do you know where my family is?" And the sergeant said, "No, he didn't." And then the ninja began to slash at him and struck his leg with the
Okay.
sword. And so
Okay.
the sergeant ran away, and then the ninja sort of terrorized the base while the special operation members were kind of hunkered down in a hangar together. And
Sure.
he showed up and he hit someone with a rock. He threw a rock at someone.
Wait, pause,
So,
wait, hold on. This guy broke. Okay. Okay. Here's what's wrong with this story. First of all, if you are a ninja, nobody knows who you are, dude. You
right.
can't walk up to people and be like, "Do you know who I am?" No, you're a fucking ninja. I don't know who you
Yeah,
are. Not if
right.
you're any kind of ninja. You're wearing a mask. You're a ninja. That's the whole point. Is I don't know who you are. I sure as fuck don't know who your family is. Are you? No. Are you in the phone book, Roger Ninja? No, I don't know you. Absolutely not. Also, you're telling me that this person broke onto a military base
Yeah.
where military people doing military shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
these people have guns, right? Like lots of guns. There's probably a tank somewhere.
Right. Yeah.
And he somehow managed to terrorize the place with a sword and a rock. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah. He did not make a ninja like getaway though, because they caught him.
Well, they lulled him into a false sense of security, letting him fuck people up with a rock on a military base.
Yeah.
He probably just walked right into the handcuffs. Jesus. Okay, so they caught
Yeah.
him.
Yeah. Here's the capture. Police officer. I guess they called the police, which is kind of unusual.
What?
When you call police to a military base.
Oh,
But
okay, yeah.
police officers located the ninja suspect on a nearby road, but the man refused to follow commands and brandished the sword at deputies, the sheriff's office said. Projectile rounds were used but were ineffective. The man ran away and then they tasered him. He dropped the sword and the
Wow.
deputies took him into custody. He was identified as Gino Rivera, 35 years old.
I want to know more about Gino Rivera.
Yeah, I'm really curious as to what his motivation is. Um, him saying, "Do you know where my family is?" It
It's
makes
interesting.
me think that like maybe he's into like QAnon or something, and thought that there's
Yeah,
like a
totally.
conspiracy to kidnap his family.
Yeah. And
Could
like
be.
to be fair, it's not like the US military hasn't gotten up to hinky shit before because they
Yeah.
100% have. And like who knows, maybe something happened with this dude that was like origin story level shit
Yeah.
that happened with his family and he just had to be a ninja about it. Like I am not trying to hold this guy like I'm not saying he's a villain. I'm impressed. He
Yeah.
went to a military base. He cut a guy with a sword and he fucked somebody up with a rock. That took skill. I'm not saying he's a ninja. I doubt that. I have my doubts. Doubt, suspicion. But
He's a
he was
ninja
doing something.
suspect.
He's a he's a
He's a
suspected ninja and
right.
also a suspect who is a
Right.
ninja. Yep. So like there's that for sure. Also though, they said they used projectile rounds and they were ineffective.
Yeah.
Dude, have you ever been hit by a projectile? Like those will knock you down, take you that hurts like hell.
You
He
you know
must have.
why they were ineffective? Because he took his sword and then
Oh, that'd be dope. I hope he
he knocked
did.
them all out of the air. And
Like
they're
some
like,
Jedi
"Oh,
shit.
it's a real ninja."
Dang. Like that's not a ninja, that's
He,
a fucking Jedi. You guys watch out.
they were trying to shoot him and he was doing backflips all the way down the street and
Cool.
they couldn't hit him. Is what
I
I'm
mean,
imagining.
they got him with the taser though. I mean, to
Yeah,
be fair,
right.
those less than lethal rounds probably slowed him down a little bit, and the taser probably finished him off.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that have been some shit though if the story had been actually that a ninja attacked these people on this base and they shot him and he still got away? Like I
And
kind of wish he
he disappeared in a
puff
cloud of
of
smoke. Yeah.
Wow.
I've
Wow.
seen I've seen too many ninja movies, so
I like, are we collectively just getting less in touch with baseline reality? I like at this point, I kind of feel like we are all just so done with like, whatever. You can't tell me I can't be a ninja. You can't tell me I can't
well,
break into a
all
military
these
base
stories
with a
that we
rock.
talked about, except for the boar attack, I mean, but all the other stories we talked about, a dude that dresses like a mole, a guy who
Yeah.
dresses like a ninja,
Yeah.
a woman who thinks she's a shaman drinking bear piss, like it's all like people who are the line between reality and fantasy has disappeared. So
Yeah, and like there's always been people who've been riding that fine line because the world is very strange and we don't understand other people's experiences at all. And I know that like we're very hyper aware now because we have the internet and everybody has a fucking video camera in their pocket all the time. But at the same time, it does sometimes feel like collectively, as a global society, we are just getting less connected to reality. It's like we're just like, meh, I can be a mole if I feel like it. You can't stop me. I'm like, you don't know what real is, Dad. You don't know anything about rock and roll, Dad. Oh, Jesus. Okay, those were all good. That was good. That was a pretty good lineup of stories. Like
yeah,
as a weird week goes, that I call
yeah,
that top five for sure.
hell yeah, 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 pretty intense
Mhm.
stuff. Maybe it's because
Yeah,
it's October too, and this is kind of when things are a little extra crazy
that's
sometimes.
true.
Yeah,
That's true. That's true. Okay, cool. Well, that
cool.
was a good week. I think we'll be back next week, don't you think? Probably.
Absolutely. Yes. Thanks everyone for tuning in. It's good to see your comments. Sorry we didn't share more of them. But yeah, we'll be back next week. So have a good
Yeah.
one.
Bye, everybody.